If you're involved in professional aviation at an early stage, you'll be involved in crew resource management training. This is an introduction. Watch this video. Hello, welcome to the channel. So crew resource management training, this is an introduction into a course that you will be attending at some stage. The series of videos will give you an introduction into the CRM principles and elements, and also what you can expect on a CRM session. Now, every CRM session will give you an introduction into the general principles of CRM. You'll have a brief look at requirements and regulations particular to the elements of CRM that are being discussed. You will regard the principles and the application of principles of CRM. And most importantly, how do the principles and elements of CRM, how do they affect your particular role? Now, crew resource management as an overriding explanation can be described as the effective utilization of all resources, that's crew members, aircraft systems, supporting facilities and persons, to achieve a safe and efficient operation. So focus is always on safety, but also on the efficient operation, the efficiency of whatever you're doing. So who's CRM training for? Well, it's for pilots, cabin crew, but also technical crew, engineers, and any other supporting staff or related staff, or also it can be extended out to any related services or personnel involved in related services. Now, some of the major elements involved in CRM training are human factors and human performance and limitations, threat and error management, communication, leadership and teamwork, but there are many other topics too. Now, CRM training is required and is mandatory for pilots and crew. For example, cabin crew. And it's usually delivered over a 3-year cycle, and it covers all the CRM principles. Whilst it's only mandatory for pilots and cabin crew, the CRM principles should be expanded and extended to all people within an organization. And certainly personnel from supporting services should also be engaged in this process as well. As a CRM instructor, one of the aims is actually to try and deliver CRM training, or certainly expand and extend the principles and elements of CRM to those who are not mandated to have the training. So therefore, we could extend it to technical staff and office staff, for example, and also supporting staff. Now, we could say one of the main goals of CRM is to better the communication and management skills of the flight crew member, with the emphasis of non-technical aspects of flight crew performance. Crew resource management had its origins in a desire by the aviation community to understand why aircraft accidents and incidents were occurring, but there was very little in the way of explanation. In the 1970s, cockpit voice recorders were developed and utilized, and that gave an early insight into why accidents were happening. Investigators could start to understand the causes and the processes involved. Then in development, initially crew resource management was called cockpit resource management, because really they were only considering what the pilots were doing. But thereafter it was changed to crew resource management, because it's not only the pilots who are involved, it's also cabin crew and supporting staff as well. Now, some of the learning that you'll do on a CRM course, that you'll look at accident reports and case studies. You look at training systems and hazard avoidance. You'll dig into the human condition and psychology, and you'll be discussing countermeasures and also the evolution of any process as well, whether it's the whole CRM process or individual elements, or how you tackle a certain process. In terms of technical discussion, you'll be looking at technology, the successes and the failures and errors in technology. You'll discuss accidents and historical precedents. You'll also look at relatable research into different elements. You'll be discussing the errors in pilots and whether those are just isolated to pilots. But fundamentally, you'll be looking at error avoidance systems and programs. One of the discussion areas of CRM is why CRM fails. We'll be discussing a resistance to change, a fear of failure, CRM delivery methods, lack of engagement by crews or support by management, and finally a lack of application. CRM looks at the interaction and reactions of people, between people and rule sets, between people and systems and technical environment, and people with the environment as well, and also the interaction with other people as well. So in crew resource management, one of the main concerns, or one of the things that we really want to avoid, of course, is any reduction in safety of a flight. That can lead to a loss of control, issues of flights onto runways, runway excursions, overruns, runway incursions, in-flight near misses, controlled flights into terrain, any airborne conflict, any ground handling issues such as fire. One of the main areas of human factors in the CRM that was developed was also the analysis of threat and errors. So there's much emphasis placed on threat and error management. So you'll be looking to identify and define threats and errors. What is the management for threats and errors? We'll look at training, procedures and policy in regards to threat and error management. You'll expand on what threats actually are, what errors are, and what violations are. And ultimately, with threat error management, we'll be looking to avoid those threats and errors, be able to trap those if they start to materialize, and mitigate any negative consequence thereafter. One of the key areas of crew resource management is the general area of communication. You'll be looking into the process of communication, how it's performed, the verbal and the visual. You'll be discussing the sending of messages, the message pathway, influences on messages, and also the recipients receiving those messages. You'll be discussing the barriers to good communication and how that affects the recipient or the receiving of information and messages. You'll also be discussing the role of feedback in the communication process, and critically how you can evolve the communication process and better that communication process within your own operation. So the main principles in crew resource management are human factors, human performance and limitations, threat and error management, behavior and personality, stress, fatigue, vigilance, monitoring, situational awareness, information processing, safety culture, standard operating procedures, automation, workload management, effective communication, leadership and teamwork, cooperation and decision making, resilience, surprise and startle effects, cultural differences and organizational factors. And on top of that, you'll be doing lots of discussions, lots of classroom exercises or environmental exercises, and looking at case studies as well. So this has been a general introduction into CRM, what will be discussed on a CRM course. But anytime you attend a CRM course, be prepared to be engaged in the process and to discuss the elements. CRM sessions are as much about your input as they are about the CRM instructors and the facilitators as well. If you like what I do here, subscribe to the channel and just keep on watching the videos, and I'll catch you again. Bye now.